So as you can probably tell by now, what was once a boys trip suddenly became a Landon trip. And the Landon trip is the only one that made it out of the group chat. And now Landon is globetrotting with no home to return to in the US and no return flight back to the US either, so we're playing a pretty dangerous game right now. But it's nothing new to me. Girls always ask me when I'm gonna stop playing games. I don't even know what game they're talking about. I didn't even realize I was playing a game. But anyways, after a week in France, I'm going to be spending the next 2 weeks at a surf camp in Bali. I haven't had a chance really to get good at this since I've been sacrificed to the gods of late-stage capitalism, but I plan to be spending most of my waking hours at the beach. Anyways, check out the crib. We're posted up on the south part of the island in areas like Uluwatu and Greenbull. You've probably seen influencer pics of Bali with the rice fields and the passport bros. All of that is north of the airport in areas like Ubud and Canggu. Now, normally I would expect myself to be there hollering, but after a week in France eating like bread, I don't even know what French cuisine is, but yeah, after a week in France of eating nothing of nutritional value, my body was nowhere close to being in shape for them to even bat an eye. I've definitely been in situations where someone is probably like, what gives you the right to think that you can talk to me? But it's just that confidence of being a mediocre man. I got an early start to my day tomorrow, so I'm just gonna chill with Lo-Fi Girl. And as soon as it's the crack of dawn, it's time to get going. At this point, it's been less than 12 hours since I landed. I have no cardio, I have no stamina, everything's hurting. We're not even running on fumes right now, we're running on dreams. After a couple of stretches and lathering sunscreen everywhere, it's time to go, and we're absolutely doing this raw. I don't know what's gonna happen. But at the very least, I'm glad my parents signed me up for swim lessons when I was a kid because I still know some adults who can't swim. So as low as my survival instinct is, I can still tread water and swim. I was actually really happy with how I did right off the bat because it's been a while since I actually stepped foot on a board. But pretty quickly, I realized I had no stamina to boot. I was gasping and wheezing and panting every time I had to paddle back out. So after a quick morning sesh, we head to the cafe on the beach where we actually refuel on substance instead of dreams. But I had no idea how I was going to go for round 2, and I don't have my Monster Reborn card. I reviewed my film at night and I was actual hot ass, so I decided to take the next day off to recharge and get some supplies from town. I was last in Bali 4 years ago for my grad trip, so I don't remember much outside of scooters being the main form of transportation. Of course, had to get a beer by the beach because I'm in maximum chill mode. After that, I grab a scooter because I have to head back to camp. Just kidding, I'm not the one actually driving, I'm just holding on. It seems pretty safe to me, but I feel like my mom would not be cool with it if she knew what I was doing and how I was getting around. So the whole way back, I'm just clutching on a bro for dear life. Of course, I had to get a selfie with him. He looked annoyed as fuck, so I got the message. I got back not too late, which was good because I had to wake up early again. And we're going to a different beach this time where I got absolutely destroyed. Like, these waves were way too big and way too fast for me, and I felt like I was just spinning in a washing machine for the whole time. So now I understand what I'm doing to people on the basketball court when I cross them up and put them in a spin cycle. Easily my worst session ever until tomorrow, but it's aight. We've got fun stuff to do. Every day of the week in Uluwatu, there's a rotation of beach clubs that bring in DJs. So tonight we're heading to Singlefin, and it's always house music, by the way, so just a warning if it's not your thing. Clearly, this guy had as much fun as I did because he hit a parked car and then tried to do a hit and run. So instead of actually taking me home, we're just chasing this guy for 30 minutes in the streets. Finally, he stops and they have this exchange.
You have problem.
Why?
Over there. Why?
What problem?
Yeah.
problem?
You have problem for local people.
No.
Yeah.
This whole time, I'm just chilling in the back, minding my own business. I've got nothing to contribute to this conversation. But it's fine. At some point, he remembered he still had to drop me off, so head back to camp. I know exactly how this girl is feeling right now. I was also absolutely fried after a couple days, but the feeling passes quickly. You get pretty used to it, and honestly, you start feeling better really quickly because you're taking in so much sun. And the beaches are super pretty and super peaceful, and this is the only thing you're doing in your waking hours. It kind of feels like a tour to Bali because you're traveling all up and down the coastline, going to almost every single beach. And speaking honestly, which I always do, and from the heart, which I rarely do, this is probably the best I've ever felt. For however much I'm furthering the city boy cause and the city boy agenda, part of me knows that the coast is where I belong. Though at the moment, there's way too much work to be done for the city boy cause, so that's a conversation for another day. It's pretty much the same story for the rest of the 2 weeks. It's always going to be an early bedtime because there's an early start to the day. So usually I'm asleep right after the sun sets and up before it rises. Go to the garage to make preparations, wax the boards, check the wave reports at different beaches, the tide charts, the live streams if they have them, and then we're off to the races again. These weeks were the most I've ever thought about nothing, more so than I do regularly, and in the moments where I wasn't not thinking about anything, it gave me a really good chance to think about what I would even want to do if I didn't have to work, what kind of person I wanted to be, and whether there was anything more meaningful that I could do with my time. At least something that I found meaningful, but I don't really have a good answer to that yet. My intent here wasn't to be all about existentialism. It was more so about how we actually have to keep searching and looking to find that thing, because I'm not about to let the rest of my life be about maximizing shareholder value. So one of these days, check back in with me to see if I've found an answer. I don't know when I'm going to come back and have a chance to do something like this again, so I'm trying to make every second count. And by the end of it all, I felt like I was a pretty decent surfer. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm good by any means, but I'm really happy with how fast I learned and how fast I got better. It's a lot more fun falling on melted water, like in the ocean when you fall off a wave, than it is falling on frozen water like ice when you're snowboarding. So snowboarding down a black is still going to have to wait. And just as quickly as we came, it was time to leave. I'm really glad I listened to myself and came here and did something that I've always wanted to do. It's already been the longest that I've ever traveled by myself. I think it's 3 weeks now and counting. I know that when I am to do this again, it's going to be a lot easier for me with more sunscreen next time because the sun is no joke. Like, this tan here is going to last a couple months, but besides the tan, I'm thankful for these memories and some new friends and a better ability to surf. So to one of my most favorite places on earth so far, until next time.